Imagine fighting a war where your soldiers are hungry, exhausted, and freezing, and then discovering that your enemy is so rich they give every single soldier chocolate, coffee, cigarettes, and toilet paper as standard issue. Not for officers. Not for special units. For everyone. In that moment, one German general reportedly realized something terrifying. This war was already lost. Not because of tactics, not because of bravery, but because of resources. And what he saw inside an abandoned American supply dump during the Battle of the Bulge changed how he viewed the entire war forever. Before we go deeper, if you enjoy true World War II stories that reveal the hidden details behind famous battles, take a second to like this video and subscribe to World War II. It really helps the channel grow and ensures you don't miss future stories like this one. December 1944 was one of the darkest moments of the Second World War for Europe. Snow covered the forests of the Ardennes, temperatures dropped well below freezing, and both sides were pushed to their limits. Adolf Hitler had launched one last desperate gamble, a massive surprise attack through the Ardennes forest, hoping to split the Allied forces and force a negotiated peace. This offensive would later be known as the Battle of the Bulge. For Germany, it was a final throw of the dice. For the soldiers on the ground, it was a brutal fight for survival. German troops advanced through the forests, using whatever strength they had left. Fuel was scarce. Ammunition was limited. Food supplies were poor. Many German soldiers were already underfed before the offensive even began. Some units survived mainly on bread, thin soup, and whatever they could scavenge from abandoned villages. Horses, still used by the Wehrmacht for transport, were starving. Men marched in worn-out boots, wrapped in mismatched winter clothing, facing one of the coldest winters Europe had seen in years. One of the senior German officers involved in this campaign was General Günther Blumentritt. He was an experienced staff officer, not known for dramatic speeches or emotional reactions. He had served in both World War I and World War II and understood logistics, planning, and the reality behind battlefield report. Blumentritt was not easily impressed, and he was certainly not naive about Germany's situation by late 1944. Still, nothing prepared him for what he was about to see. As German forces pushed forward during the early days of the offensive, they occasionally overran American positions. Sometimes the Americans retreated quickly, leaving behind equipment, vehicles, and supply dumps. It was during the inspection of one of these abandoned American supply areas that Blumentritt reportedly had his moment of realization. What he found was not just food. It was abundance. Stacks of neatly packed boxes filled with American rations. Each ration was individually wrapped and carefully designed for one soldier for one day. Inside were complete meals. Crackers, canned meat, candy bars, chocolate, coffee, sugar, matchas, chewing gum, cigarettes, even toilet paper. Everything a soldier might need to eat, stay warm, and maintain morale in the middle of a frozen forest. Blumentritt examined these rations closely. He noticed how standardized they were, how carefully they were packaged, and how many of them there were. This was not a special supply dump for elite troops. This was normal. This was routine. This was what the United States provided for its average private soldier every single day, thousands of miles away from home. The contrast with the German situation could not have been sharper. At the same time, German soldiers were rationing bread, sharing watery soup, and watching their horses collapse from hunger. The Americans were eating chocolate and drinking coffee in the snow. Matchas and chewing gum were not luxuries. They were standard issue. Blumentritt reportedly turned to his officers and made a quiet but powerful statement. He said that any country wealthy enough to give every private soldier chocolate and coffee did not need to worry about rationing. Germany, he believed, was fighting an enemy with resources that were effectively endless. This was not just about food. It was about industrial power, logistics, organization, and the ability to sustain a war on a global scale. The American K-Ration became, in that moment, a symbol of something much larger. It represented factories running day and night, ships crossing the Atlantic in massive convoys, and an economy untouched by bombing, invasion, or occupation. For American soldiers, the K-Ration was sometimes criticized. Some complained about the taste. Others grew tired of eating the same items again and again. But what they rarely realized was how extraordinary these rations appeared to their enemies. 2 German soldiers. They were a glimpse into a world of overwhelming material strength. The United States was fighting this war far from its own shores, yet its soldiers were well-fed, well-equipped, and continuously supplied. Meanwhile, Germany was fighting on its own continent, yet struggling to keep its troops warm and nourished. That imbalance mattered more than any single battle. Blumentritt understood this deeply. As a staff officer, he knew that wars are not won only by courage or strategy. They are won by logistics, by supply lines, by the ability to replace losses and keep armies functioning month after month. What he saw in that supply dump confirmed what many German officers privately feared but rarely said aloud.
Germany was running out of everything. Fuel, food, men, time. The Battle of the Bulge itself would soon prove this point.
Although the Germans achieved surprise and initial success, they could not sustain the offensive. Tanks ran out of fuel. Units stalled. American resistance stiffened. And once the weather cleared, Allied air power returned with devastating effect. The German advance slowed, then stopped, then reversed. American soldiers, despite suffering heavy casualties and brutal conditions, continued to receive supplies. Trucks rolled forward. Planes dropped cargo. Hot food eventually reached the front lines again. Meanwhile, German units were forced to abandon vehicles simply because they had no fuel to move them. The K-Ration was only one small piece of a massive system, but it represented the heart of the problem for Germany. The United States was not just fighting with soldiers. It was fighting with factories, farms, railroads, oil fields, and an untouched industrial base that could outproduce its enemies on a scale never seen before. Blumentritt's realization was not dramatic or public. There was no official announcement. No surrender followed immediately. But for him, and for many others in the German high command, moments like this stripped away any remaining illusions. Even if Germany won a battle here or there, the overall balance could not be changed. By early 1945, Germany was collapsing on all fronts. Soviet forces pushed from the east. Western allies advanced from the west. Cities lay in ruins. Civilians suffered hunger and fear. The war that had begun with promises of quick victories ended in exhaustion and destruction. Looking back, the image of that American ration dump stands out as one of those quiet, powerful moments in history. No gunfire, no explosions, just boxes of food sitting in the snow, silently telling a story about who could afford to fight a long war and who could not. If you found this story interesting so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to World. Your support helps us keep sharing these lesser known but important moments from history. The lesson from Blumentritt's experience goes beyond World War II. It reminds us that wars are decided long before the shooting starts. They are decided in factories, in supply chains, in economic planning, and in the ability to care for the people asked to fight. For the American soldier, opening a K-Ration in the freezing Ardennes, it was just a meal. For the German general inspecting that same ration, it was proof that Germany was facing an enemy it could never truly outlast. As we come toward the end of this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think logistics matter more than battlefield tactics in modern wars? Or do you believe leadership and strategy still outweigh material strength? Let us know in the comments. And if you think this story is worth sharing, send it to someone who loves history as much as you do. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon on World War II at the